What's up, everybody? Welcome to Coach in the Atlantic. I'm your host, Miles Aspie, alongside Prophecy. And today we have another dope show for you. You know, COVID-19 has been here, but we are getting back to what we do. Thank God, and we hope you guys have been okay. Now, today we have a special guest with us, who we are very pleased to say is our guest today. Now, before we get into that, let's just get straight into the positive quote like we usually do for you guys, and this is what we have for you. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And Martin Luther King said it best. In these times, we've learned a lot. It's been a learning experience for us all. And we hope that what you've learned can be applied to your life indefinitely for the positive. We are all one and the same. But all in all, be the change that you believe we need in this world, because change starts with you. All right, everybody. So as I always let you know, I believe in you. You should too. Now, our special guest today is Ms. Robyn Swan, the founder of Move Bermuda Forward. Hello, Robyn. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah. Definitely. We're actually very pleased to have you here today. So as the founder of Move Bermuda Forward, what really made you want to decide to move Bermuda forward? What gave you that urge?
For the past 13 years, some may or may not know, I've been involved in politics, both in the background and the forefront. And now that I'm not in politics, I wanted to continue my advocacy for the community. And I just came to the realization that I don't need a political party in order to accomplish that. What I can do is share the knowledge that I've collected over the years. I can help empower other people, and that way we can collectively come together as a community and truly move Bermuda forward.
Exactly, and that's a beautiful thing. And first I want to just say I honor you and respect you for even deciding to do that. I love your platform. It's a positive thing. Lately you did something, or recently you did something in regards to the violence against women in Bermuda. What struck you to want to even address that subject?
To be honest with you, part of it was recently what has happened with, I believe her name is Chevelle.
Right.
Chevelle.
Yeah.
I don't know her personally,
Mm-hmm.
but what happened with Chevelle, what has recently happened with the young lady that was attacked in Warwick, and things that I've experienced myself.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a disconnect. That's why the meeting is called Stop the Disconnect.
Exactly.
There are some processes between the police, the DPP, as well as our court system that is lacking. It's one too many women going through similar experiences. Maybe it is that policies need to change,
right,
because our society has dramatically changed over the years.
Yep.
Maybe it is that we as citizens are not knowledgeable of the processes. Whatever it is, we have started that conversation. We're collecting information, and what we discover, we intend to take to the police commissioner, then the DPP, and then to the courts. Not to demonize or villainize any of those institutions,
right, mm-hmm,
but just to try and build bridges and fill in those gaps. That way the community feels validated, and those institutions know that they have community support and knowledge, so that everybody can now work more cooperatively together.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. That's beautiful. Yeah. As far as the young lady, the 33-year-old young lady, the mother of, I believe, two, who was brutally attacked recently with the machete. I actually thought that was something that I don't think we've seen anything like that really before, not recently at least. To that girl's family and even to her, we just want to let you guys know that, you know, we're with you as the public, and even anybody watching, if you would like to donate to her GoFundMe, because she is actually left handicapped with a few handicaps, not handicapped completely.
Yeah, she's going to need trauma therapy for her trauma and prosthetics, actually.
Exactly.
So
we're going to leave a link in the bio for you guys. Go ahead, click that, and definitely check it out and donate to her. I have a question for you again. Do you believe, or do you think that social media may have an influence on the impact of violence against women?
It's definitely evolved it. I just, before I came here, had a meeting with ZBM and Laurie Shield, as well as Tawanda Tannick, where there at the meeting, and they were speaking to that as well. They were saying that we definitely need more stronger laws and penalization, because once you hit that send button, it's permanent.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? It will always be on the internet somewhere. So that has been a dramatic change in our society now,
Right.
where people have a bit more leverage and power over people when it comes to abuse than previous decades that we've had. So it's definitely been a dramatic change in how abuse occurs.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like there's too much stuff in our society that's normalized, from domestic violence to pedophilia, this, sexual assaults, like that don't really go checked. You know what I mean? They go unchecked. And I feel like we do need tougher sentences, laws. That has to change.
Oh, definitely.
But it doesn't even have to just change here in Bermuda. Those kind of laws are not really too tough globally. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it's definitely a slap on the wrist in Bermuda.
oh, definitely.
The 8 years that I was working between Westgate and co-ed, I would see the same people coming in and out, same offenses, and especially when it came to sex offenders. I did have a very well-received open mic about the sex offenders registry. When we finished the purple paper, there's several things that I would like from Move Bermuda Forward to address in our community as well, and that's definitely going to be one. I have to give full credit to our current Attorney General. This government has kept its promise to inform the public when sex offenders are released. They have done it indiscriminately. Doesn't matter who they are. The public is informed. But I personally would like to see that become law. So no matter who, because the way the law is currently written, it's up to the AG who is going to be published in the Royal Gazette or not. It needs to be law so that no matter who's there, it will continue to happen.
A lot of tougher punishments for that too.
Oh,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
that
'Cause
too.
I feel like it's very disturbing, and I guess I can say it, that we can walk this island and see people that we know for a fact are sex offenders just walking around unbothered.
Yeah, I personally am not opposed to having a public accessible registry. I know that is going to be a very long fight to happen,
Yeah.
but for now, I think that it's a stroke of the pen that they can make it now law that this is now the new process that the public is informed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good way to move Bermuda forward, actually.
Yeah,
That's
I
a great
I
way.
completely agree with you. And the thing about it is that I've been very passionate about that. Like via Twitter, I've expressed myself about that. I just felt like it's very crazy because you had the regiment scandal that happened years ago, and the fact that we can still see that same individual walking the island, working a regular job. You know what I mean? You do have people that get put in the newspaper and out there, but the same people are still walking around unbothered, unsupervised. And
That's the part right there. The supervisors is what I have a problem.
Yeah.
From getting educated to the processes as well as a bit of psychology, I understand that people still need to live. They still have to live. And I
Exactly.
get that. But we have to put things in place to make sure that they're not around children.
Yeah.
They're not around
Exactly.
women. They're not in places that they could possibly reoffend.
Exactly.
I have to give full credit to SCARS, Debbie Veras. I don't know if you guys have done the SCARS certification.
No.
It's free. They have it once a month on a Saturday.
Okay.
I sat it about 2 months ago. It was so informative. Bermuda has one of the highest rates of the world now, thanks to SCARS. No, highest rates when it comes to taking a course about how to prevent
Oh, wow.
child
molestation and things like that.
from
Okay.
occurring. And they're absolutely right. The more we understand how to prevent it,
Yeah.
the less people are going to be traumatized. And it's not just how to prevent it. If someone comes to you, how do you respond? And that's a
Right.
major part of it too. A lot of people don't
Exactly.
know how to help somebody
Yeah.
in that situation. And that I feel confident now after taking the SCARS certification. So and my hat goes off to Debbie. She it happened in her family. That's why she founded it.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's an inspiration. That's a phenomenal
I
woman.
guess I would
Oh,
be
wow.
doing the same thing because I definitely want to get more involved with
It's
all of that.
free.
You know what I mean?
It's absolutely free and it's open to the public.
Yeah, well, I just feel like, we definitely it's crazy how inadvertently the whole Black Lives Matter
Yes.
kind of like brought up some other issues that we need to
Yes.
tackle.
Yes.
We do have our own issues here in our own backyard that we do need to tackle.
Yes,
but
definitely.
at the same time, it's like I feel like, okay, if we didn't have that happen, then we wouldn't have like shine a light on a lot of those other issues too, because a lot of those issues have been too normalized, I feel. You know
Definitely.
what I mean?
We become, after trauma causes you to become desensitized.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the way
Exactly.
our brain works, we compartmentalize memories, right?
Yeah.
And part of that ability to still process and function out of sheer instinct is putting things on the back burner.
Yep.
So we often pacify just to survive.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, if you was to actually have a conversation with so many different females, like
The
especially in our own island,
Oh yes,
like,
it's bad.
it's really bad.
really bad.
And like, I had a friend, and when she kind of like just felt, she opened up to me about it. It was just like, man, these are people that I walk past in my neighborhood every day.
Yeah.
And I just feel like
It's sometimes it's trusted people in communities too.
Yes.
That's the hard
yes,
part, man.
yes.
Especially when they're trusted or they're like people with a high status. And it's like, okay, what can we do about this?
then
And
they
nothing
get
gets done.
protected by the system.
Right.
Well, a good example of that, I guess I'm going to call that out, is the situation with David Miners.
I don't know about that.
He was a teacher at Cedar Bridge.
Okay. Was he convicted?
He was convicted.
Okay.
But what the judge said, and I felt exactly what the judge said, you let the community down, because he wasn't a person that you would look at and think,
Right.
this is what he was capable of.
Yeah, people
but he was
trusted you
around
with their
young people.
children.
He was
Yep.
around children, and the way he went about what he went about was like very calculated. You know what I mean?
Premeditated.
Yeah. So
That's why they're called predators, because they
Right.
hunt for prey.
yeah.
So they're literally predators.
Well, the judge
And
said
they learn how to become manipulative as well. So, especially when it comes to, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, no.
Especially when it comes to people that abuse women, they know that it's not that the woman's so weak. There's a process where they literally strip you mentally. So you have the honeymoon period in the beginning when he's the most romantic
Right.
man in the world. And then little microaggressions come
I
in
think
there.
they call it grooming, right?
Yes,
Groom-
that's exactly
they
the
groom
word
the
for it.
victim.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly the word for it. So, and then she's so invested emotionally, most of the times financially invested into
Right.
this relationship. So it's not always he beat you, why you stay.
Right.
It's been a process where this person has mentally been stripped of their confidence to leave, or even their financial resources to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why a lot of women stay as long as they do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with the prejudice war that's going on, because I remember you just brought it up frequently in regards to Floyd. What's his name again? Floyd, that got killed by the police. His
George
last name,
Floyd.
George Floyd.
Yes, yes, yes.
In regards to George Floyd, that war started more or less a peace protest, and then it turned into something much larger, and like a prejudice war, race war. It seems like it's something that's going to bring forth change. It can.
Yes.
But it also seems like it's something that can actually be manipulated, maybe even by the system, possibly, or just to create more control as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I think at this point, we as Black people need to control our narrative. It's important at this point for us to come together and heal our wounds, because we are the inheritors of post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yeah.
So a lot of our social ills are because of the victimization from systematic racism.
Right.
And you're talking about 600 years worth.
Yeah.
So we have to do that. I've always said it begins with self. Like, you decide who you are as an individual, and then you start branching out to your community and start healing your community. But it has to start with self first.
Yeah.
So then we control our narrative. This is what we need as Black people. One of the best things I've seen come so far is people putting together who are Black-owned businesses. Our dollar matters.
Exactly.
So we
Yeah.
have to start supporting Black-owned businesses first, and that's not to dismantle white businesses.
No.
That's we keep saying we want equality.
Right.
We want financial equality and stability.
Right.
It starts with getting our people on the same financial standings as our white counterparts. That's how true equality is going to be
established and it's
Exactly.
going to come forward. I agree.
exactly.
I agree.
Well, the thing about it is, ever since this has happened, I've seen many people post black-owned businesses. No matter where they're at, I share it.
Me too.
Because I
Me
feel
too.
like, okay, this is something I need to know. Like, I feel like this is something that I have friends that are on my Facebook and on my Instagram all over the world. So if you need to know which are the black-owned restaurants in Connecticut, Oakland, wherever, I share it. You know what I mean? And you're right. It does start with self, and then you branch out to your community.
Sorry. I have this
Go
analogy
ahead.
that when me and my friends discuss this type of stuff is, how do we finally come together as a people? And I tell them, well, how do zebras know to run as a herd? How do lions know to be as a pride? How do fish swim as a school? And I said, they don't have universities to teach them. They are just being fish and just being zebras. And that nature takes its course.
Yeah.
They would naturally run together because all they do is accept what they are. So that I honestly believe nature is a reflection of the higher purpose.
Okay.
So when we do that, we are naturally going to flow together as a people.
That was amazing the way you said that, by the way. I love your analogy. I love it.
One thing that I've noticed is that now everywhere is having the uncomfortable conversation.
We have to have it.
You know what I mean?
We have to have it.
Like-
Exactly.
I come from a biracial family,
Okay.
right? I know I don't look it, but I do. And if you can't have these conversations with your white friends, something's wrong.
Definitely.
My ability to be me shouldn't be impacted by your offense of me speaking up for my rights. If it's offensive to you, something's wrong.
Definitely.
I'm sitting here telling you my leg is cut off and it's bleeding. And your response to me is, oh, well, everyone's, other people's legs are bleeding. Something's wrong. We just had that conversation. I am just so grateful. I'm there cheering on my friends because my white friends. They're hammering the racists. And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, that's my people.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, for real.
but it's so crazy because now it's like they have to see this. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yeah.
other societies, even what I noticed, and the thing that like really got me was Idaho. It's probably the whitest state ever, but they had a Black Lives Matter march, and it's kind of like, well, even if you're not
They had
black,
one in New Zealand. They literally had one in New Zealand.
but this is what I mean
Wow,
about
it's
the
trickling
uncomfortable
down.
conversation.
Yes.
You have to see us now. You have to see us.
Yes.
You
Yes.
definitely have to see
Yes.
us. It doesn't matter like if you grew up around black people. Now you have to see this. You know what I mean? And you have to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Like this is something, and now you gotta.
But you got to realize it's something deeper than race. You're talking about possibly having to relinquish power, control, your perception of superiority.
Yep.
And a lot of people are not
Ready for that.
to do that.
No.
Oh, yeah.
So they are the people of that mindset, and it's not all white people, but the people who are of that mindset,
Yeah.
they are struggling right now
Yeah.
because they are being outed for their false ideologies.
Well, the crazy thing is that like you're seeing a lot of covert racism. Now it's surfaced. Because
Yes.
now before it's like as long as I don't
Yeah.
use the N-word, I'm not a
Yeah.
racist. But now it's like, oh no, you don't use the N-word, you say other things.
And
Right.
You
You
do
know what I mean?
other
Right.
things.
Yeah, you do other things.
Do other things.
You think a certain kind of way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just
It's like that conversation of that people continuously get confused of why black people can't be racist, right? And I've even had to debate with black people, and I tried to tell them this is the difference. When you can only be prejudiced. The reason why is because racism, people get racist and prejudice confused.
huge, yeah.
Racism is based upon, it's a system, right?
Yeah.
That means the banks and the universities, they were all built to be biased towards white. This is a fact. This
Yeah.
is not me getting in my feelings.
Yeah.
It's reality.
No, but it is reality though.
So then I decide I'm not going to interview you because your name's Jamal instead of Michael or Bob.
Yeah.
I'm now perpetuating the system that says white is right.
Yeah.
So I'm not. What my action has done is racist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you decide, oh well, I don't like Scott because he's white, I want to hire the black guy. The reason why your prejudice is the system is not preset for black bias; it's preset for white bias.
Definitely.
So that you don't have as much power as the white person upholding the system.
Exactly.
So that's why people say it's a power difference.
Yeah.
So it's the actions that are upholding the system.
Well, it's so crazy because, you know, I think the one conversation that we've woken up on the island is, does racism exist here? And the truth is,
it definitely does.
The truth is, we're a British colony. It don't get no more racist than that.
Yeah,
For real.
We are a colony. We are colonized. We are still colonized. It don't get no more racist than that. Like, you know what I mean? So it's so funny because it's like, well, the fact that we're still owned. You know what I mean? Haiti, they fought for their freedom. You know what I mean? Other islands, they did what they had to do to have their independence and their freedom. And even though I know there's pros and cons for Bermuda to go independent or whatever, I would say at this point, now that we have to acknowledge it, okay, we could do that. But where's our plan?
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
do we have a plan?
Real
talk.
We will definitely need more than international business and hospitality as an industry. It definitely needs to be a broader conversation, and more information needs to be circulated. You know, I am not as strongly opposed as I've been previously. But I still, like you said, if there's no vision and plan, it's a no from me. It's definitely a no
It's
from
almost
me
like
until then.
It's almost like when we talk about boycotting certain businesses because they're not black owned here, but they employ nothing but black Bermudians.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Exactly.
like I said, to me, I am not of the opinion that you are inherently racist because you're white. You are inheritors of a racist system because you might not have had anything to do with it, but your ancestors did. But your actions tell me if you're a racist or not.
Right.
What's the phrase I heard? If the superintendent builds the building, why does the son of the superintendent still benefit from it?
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean?
So,
like,
and again, that's why I always talk about education. There's what is her name? Susan Jeffries? I can't remember. There was a lady a few years ago that got chewed out by Bermudians on Facebook. She did make a racist comment. She did.
Okay.
I didn't ask her off. I didn't write her off. And every now and then, if I see something that is educational, especially geared towards educating white people about racism, I inbox her and I say, hey, may I share this with you? And she's always said, yes, please, and tells me thank you. And she's actually one of the biggest voices right now, white Bermudian wise, for the Black Lives thing in Bermuda. And I think it's from a genuine place.
Well,
for
that's
sure.
when you
I'm
need
sure
to surround yourself with like people like you. Me and you definitely been friends for a long time, and that's the one thing I do appreciate. Because you don't just do that for her; you do that for me. Like you have something like, hey, take a look at this.
I think, you know, my first primary school was where did it go? Port Royal. I think it's not a secret that I'm a Swan. So I've pretty much been around white people, predominantly white people, majority of my life. So I think maybe that was for a reason. I tend to have a bit more patience with when it comes to trying to show people that are really stuck in that paradigm of thinking. I think that might be one of my purposes is to really be the person that could sit down and talk. I've not taken it upon myself, but certain people, I just say to myself, something about them. I think I could save this one, but I don't do it for everybody. Some people, it's like, look, y'all lost cause, I'm too tired.
That's real. Some people are lost causes. Let's be honest.
So, like,
if I see a little spark in there, I'm gonna keep trying to pull it out of you until you get it. And thus far, I think one I really got him good. I was like, okay. Then it's like, all right, I'm gonna get Miss Jeffers. I see you, girl. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
So it's like you see the potential in somebody
Yeah,
and you
I'm
ignite
not
that
a-
flame.
I'm not a write-off person. I don't write people off. I
Exactly.
don't
Give 'em the
believe
benefit of the
in that.
doubt.
The only person that could judge anybody is the man upstairs, and I'm not him. And Lord knows, I'm gonna be crying on that judgment
Come on.
day, trying to bargain. Lord, I didn't mean it. Lord.
Yeah, it wasn't that deep.
So
at the time.
because of that truth, and I'm not perfect,
Right.
and I've done some jacked up things,
Right.
I will not. I try my best not to judge other people.
That's good.
I really don't. I really try not to. You really had to done something to me for me to really have a toot with you.
Come on. I understand that. So, unfortunately, we're pressed for time as far as the show is almost over.
Okay.
So, before we go, I just want to know, what are you going to be doing next so we can, support it? And I want everybody to know, follow Move Bermuda Forward on Facebook.
Yes.
So, what's next for you?
Well, I've already started Community Matters. I do it pretty much every other Tuesday on my Instagram.
Oh,
It's
nice.
at Black Swan BDA. And it's discussions similar to this.
Okay, nice.
With members of the community, anything that's kind of where I believe the community needs more information on
Yes.
or highlighted, just so that when they leave, they have more knowledge.
Okay.
And all my friends, I'm telling them, look, start a blog, because the more of us that are talking, the more of us become connected.
Yes.
And this is how you heal. This is how you move Bermuda forward.
Exactly.
The more information, the more power we have.
Come on.
So
Preach, preacher. Wow, thank you for coming through today. It was really nice
Thank you
having
for
you.
having me.
Of course. Anytime. Anytime. Come
Awesome.
again anytime.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say, Prop, before we get out of here?
It's definitely good having you come through.
Thank
know
you
what I
very
mean?
much.
I was very excited about having you come through, and you exceeded my expectations with the interview.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
Until next time, guys. It's Coach in the
my glass is
Atlantic.
empty. I already